Hello, everyone.
Howdy, folks. Happy Friday.
Welcome to our second live stream. We hope it's been a good week for y'all. And even though it's kind of summer, I'm still representing K-State in my sweatshirt because we keep our house really cold. Don't know about y'all, but there's been some big streaming news this week. So we're going to dive right in. Talking about some news. John, you want to share it about ESPN?
Yeah, so it broke yesterday. Wall Street Journal first reported it, and then a number of other sites started reporting on what WSJ had said. But it has been reported that that Disney is now seriously, supposedly, in talks to actively prepare to let ESPN to have it be a standalone streaming service, direct to consumer. No data sets, and it will keep offering ESPN as a TV channel even after launching it as a streaming service, reportedly. Now this is huge news because it's really live sports and news that are keeping cable alive, in our opinion, for the most part. And ESPN is the 800-pound gorilla in terms of live sports. And this would be huge. I know for us, we keep Sling much of the year for ESPN, strictly for ESPN. And there's been no reporting on what will happen to its various channels within the family, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN News. I would think logically that it would make sense to put what they want on the ESPN Plus platform since they already have the framework. But as of right now, as it stands, they are planning on launching their own DTC consumer streaming service. Sorry, just reading through the news here. It's working. Wall Street Journal said that that Disney is working through to secure flexibility in its deals that it already has with cable providers, and that would allow it to offer the channel directly to us as consumers. They're having similar discussions with pro sports leagues and college leagues, and they've reached agreements supposedly with at least 2 major leagues, according to Wall Street Journal. And it has already started making deals, or a deal with pay TV providers to get that contract flexibility they need to launch it as a standalone streaming service. And that really is going to be key in our opinion. And obviously the first question is going to be cost. There has been no costs. Everything that I know and have read indicates that ESPN is responsible for just over $9 a month on a cable bill. And what they charge for ESPN Plus. So, it's really a guessing game right now to see what the cost is going to be. It would not surprise me to be in the $15 to $20 a month range. But again, that's pure speculation right now. Great to see you as well, Paul. Thanks for joining in. And Disney has also has to get permission from all the leagues. Right now, it only has permission from 2. Wall Street Journal, to my understanding, did not report what those 2 leagues were. Now, why now is really the question. Finally, reaching the tipping point where profitability is shifting from cable to streaming as more people continue to cut the cord. This could be one of those final nails in cable and TV, or cable and satellite TV providers. But again, it's pure speculation right now in terms of when that will happen. I personally am excited to see what will happen out of this, knowing Disney is involved. I've made my views known on Disney. They're going to do whatever's in their best self-interest, but I'm excited to have the availability to just get ESPN and not deal with the other bloat of, I know what we don't watch and what I'm sure many other people don't watch.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned, this has been back and forth, back and forth. There's been a lot of speculation about this, but it does finally seem like Disney is going to move forward and is actively, starting to make arrangements to put ESPN out there. And did you mention what we think it might cost?
No, just that's speculation.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
total speculation. I mean, and we wonder what's going to happen with ESPN Plus. Does this all get rolled up? Do they keep it separate? It's easy for me personally, I think, to see the rate coming out at maybe $20 to $30 a month. We'll just have to see. But we want to know what you think as you join, and comment. What do you feel about this? What would you pay for ESPN as a standalone? And, would you prefer to get it that way? Would it make you drop a streaming service subscription? So.
And Paul points out $14.99 to $19.99. That I have no problem seeing that being a possible range. It's definitely possible. Like I said, them charging just under $10 a month to cable and cable and streaming service providers. It would not surprise me to see it somewhere in that range. But again, they're going to do whatever is in their best self-interest.
Yeah. Speaking of, other media behemoths, our next piece of news that we want to move to is about YouTube. We actually have a couple of different stories. YouTube TV. A few different stories about them. Starting with YouTube TV is the only service, and let me go ahead and get this up here for us, to add subscribers this year. So, some of the numbers came out. I want to say Hulu Live, I think we covered, lost about 600,000 subscribers. But YouTube TV was the only live TV streaming provider to increase its subscribers. Why? How are they doing that? One of the ways is through services like Wow TV. They are partnering with YouTube TV. They're getting out of the cable business, and they are just going to offer YouTube TV instead and focus on kind of the cabling side of their business as opposed to, retransmitting content. Numerous people have also told us and have commented elsewhere that YouTube TV's customer service is good. So that could, if you're making a decision between a live TV service provider and you feel one has better service than the other and they're about the same price, easy to see why you might go with YouTube TV instead. Also, I think it's worth mentioning that they have a lot of features that people like. They're very easy to use. Their guide is great. And they make it really easy to get what you want. They're moving closer to being that one place, especially as they added Sunday Ticket to where you can go to them for everything that you want. So to me, it makes sense that they added people, but it's not all roses for YouTube TV. Actually, another story that they made the news about was that they are increasing. Sorry, I want to get it up here for you guys. They're increasing their taxes that they charge as they recalculate taxes. I think we have the letter here. Get it up on screen for you. Here we go. Might be kind of hard to see, but they sent an email to users letting some users know, not all users, that they were going to be upgrading their internal systems and calculating the sales and use taxes that they apply to their monthly subscription fees. They said that this upgrade may result in an increase in the required taxes applied to your subscription. And it didn't sound like this was going to be a ton of money, but it is an increase. People don't like their prices going up. We don't like being charged more taxes.
I've heard from people $4 to $6 range a month, getting it closer to $80. So
that knocks it up, and you just wonder, could that cause them to see some attrition, maybe lose some customers? I think it's possible. these new processes, they are going to go into effect with bills beginning on June 15th, and then they're expected to be fully implemented by the end of July. So, and again, not every YouTube TV subscriber will be impacted, but we'd like to hear from you. Have you received a letter? It has more subscribers, like we said, than anyone else, but how long would you stay loyal? So with that, that's YouTube TV. Let's see, we've got a few more people commenting. Hi, Lewis. Nice to see you. And Jack, nice to see you too. Thank you. We're so glad we're your favorite YouTubers. That really does make me happy. Let's see. Paul is commenting. Let's see, you've got, let me put these up here so everyone can see. Your provider, Frontier Communications, just included YouTube TV with your internet package and discontinued their TV service. That's really interesting. So kind of doing the same thing that the WOW TV did. Yeah,
and it's been a number of different cable providers that have done that. And again, so much of what YouTube TV and other services are trying to do is to become stickier. And with the YouTube primetime channels, having that ability to get other services through that platform, that's just one other move. And maybe these cable providers are seeing the writing on the wall and they're getting some kickback. I don't know it, but this has been ongoing for a number of months now, and it'd be interesting to see how this continues. And just sort of dovetail off Nicole, we're not NBA fans. We've got a 13-year-old son that lives and breathes Giannis. The last 2 nights, YouTube TV has had widespread outages. Wednesday night, they did during the fourth quarter of the Miami-Boston game, and heard that some got stuck in a loop of endless Little Mermaid commercials.
Just what an NBA fan wants to see an endless loop of, instead of the final 9 minutes of the playoff game. Right?
So I don't know if any of you have been impacted, but that has raised the question of, is YouTube TV going to be ready to handle the onslaught of the traffic that they're going to get here in 3 or 4 months with Sunday Ticket? And as we discussed last week, Amazon struggled mightily at times with their Thursday night broadcast. So it'll be interesting to see how YouTube TV is able to handle the traffic that comes with the NFL.
Yeah, that will be. And Paul, curious to see as time goes on what you think of the switch to YouTube TV from what you had with Frontier before. Curious to see if you prefer it over what you had, and how your prices might change. Find that interesting. Jack, I know you said you've used YouTube TV for 2 years, and the only issue you have is price increases, and we won't disagree with you there. Unfortunately, I think they're going to keep going up. But since we are talking about sports, John, let's move on to our next piece of news. This is really interesting.
So this goes with last week we discussed how Peacock is getting an exclusive Buffalo Bills San Diego Chargers game. Sorry, Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes. Well, no, you can keep calling it San Diego. I'm fine with that.
The Bills Chargers game, it's right before Christmas this year. Well, that game is exclusive only to Peacock. You're only going to be able to see it on Peacock. Well, more news came out this week that you might have seen is that Peacock landed their first streaming exclusive NFL game. It's going to be either a wild card or a divisional game. I can't remember. And I had read that they paid upwards of $110 to $120 million to get this game. And I have mixed thoughts on it. But what I did see this morning was, whereas the Bills Chargers game is only going to be available on Peacock, this playoff game will also be available in the 2 markets, local markets for those teams. So if it's Chiefs, Bengals, Cincinnati, and Kansas City markets, will also get it on their local station. But that leaves out so many more people. And this sort of is the beginnings of, I think, of following a pattern of what the NBA has done in putting more and more of its playoff coverage on cable services, on cable channels, as opposed to being over the air. And that, will limit the number of people that are able to see it. Now, for example, I'm a huge Cowboys fan, have been my entire life. And if I knew that the only way that, and living in Omaha, we wouldn't be, if it was the Cowboys were involved and we didn't have Peacock, we'd have to pony up the $5 to get it, to watch the game. But someone may be on a limited budget or may not want to go through signing up for another service, or concerned that they may forget to cancel. I think that brings the larger issue to bear of taking these and games like this off of over-the-air channels. Are we going to continue to? I'm sure the NFL, being the NFL, wanting to make as much money as they can, this has to be more than just dipping their toe in the water of seeing what this is like. They're wanting to. They started this with Amazon and putting their Thursday night games on Amazon. They're wanting to spread themselves as far as they can. And, from a business standpoint, I can't blame them. They want to make money. But from a consumer perspective, it's not good. And, yeah. And
yeah, we're curious, would this make you, if you don't sign up for Peacock right now, will you be more likely to, if you're an NFL fan, would it make you sign up for Peacock to get this playoff game, or to get the exclusive game between my Chargers and the Bills, who I really hope they can beat, as opposed to the debacle that was them losing to Jacksonville at the end of last season. If there are any Charger fans out there, I feel your pain. But so let's see, we do have a few comments coming in. Woody, you asked if Hulu TV solved the issue with Sinclair and ABC, and they did.
They did. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, it was about 2 weeks ago, that they came back to Hulu. But
those channels were gone for about a month. So that was really interesting and kind of a confusing thing too, because, we know that Disney owns 2/3 of Hulu and they own ABC. And, we've been digging into that carriage disputes a little more this week, actually, trying to understand them better. And it's fairly complex. It comes down to some FCC regulations and, who owns those stations. And it gets a little murky. It's not just Disney. And yet, Disney, rather than like Hulu Live, has the right to try to negotiate terms with Sinclair, and Sinclair's a little bigger, so they're trying to assert themselves too. It was just a mess, and really the bottom line bad thing is that it results in people like us not getting ABC, and when you're paying for it. And I think that's what's so frustrating for people.
And I agree, Steve. It is a bad move from a consumer standpoint. It's a horrible move to limit the availability, especially with the popularity that the NFL has. I get that they want to make money, but it's a bad move. And I've been a Cowboys fan since I was 5, so I come by it honestly. I'm not a Jerry Jones fan though. Anyway, and agreed, Paul. They're with Peacock doing this, they're getting more and more into sports. And I see Space Ghost. Nice to see you. I agree with you. I kind of do think fans are the losers here. I personally think we ought to all be able to have. You ought to be able to watch your local team's games on air for free. The NFL is making obscene amounts of money, and I know I probably sound like I'm crying in my Cheerios or something, but I really think, why take that from people? So we'll see. I guess we'll just have to. I think there is probably more going that way. And even beyond your local team, it's the playoffs. So
it is the playoffs. You ought to be able to see that, arguably the best games of the season. Yeah. So, Steve, I know you said you probably pay for a month. If it was the only way to see a playoff game, but I shouldn't force people into that, and I agree.
Yeah, especially with them not having a free trial anymore. If they had a free trial, okay, maybe, but not offering that anymore, that's bad look in my opinion.
Yeah. Also, just want to say hi to Christy. Thanks for commenting. See that you said you tried YouTube TV last week for free and that you liked it. That's great. I also noticed who won the dog show, and I thought that it kind of reminded me. I know John doesn't care about this, but I think it's funny to see how many of the dogs kind of look like their handlers or their owners. I don't know if anyone else who watches the dog show thinks that, but it's kind of funny. You can find the pictures where they're comparing them, and it always gives me a laugh. So I enjoy that. I'm glad you are enjoying YouTube TV. I want to stick with sports and move on to our next item here, which is that Warner Brothers Discovery said that it is planning to have some live sports next. Well, not next, but it's gonna. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of that window so you guys can see this headline here. A second, there we go. It's planning to add live sports to Max, to its streaming service. So what do we think about that? During the upfront, which was a couple weeks ago, when they are announcing their move from HBO Max.
Two different things.
To Max. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the upfronts are when they talk about their programming so they can get ad dollars. But they repeated during their upfronts what they said on their press event announcing Max, the so creative name for their new service, that they will be adding more live sports, and there's more details to come. So we don't know yet. We don't know if they could have exclusive rights that aren't on cable, since let's see, Warner Brothers would control what, John? TBS.
Yeah.
So there could be something there for basketball, maybe for people. The new Max app launches on Tuesday. We're going to be watching that, testing it, seeing how it rolls out. If you have Max or HBO Max, what are you hoping that the new Max app will add in its transition? You can let us know on that, and then we can move on.
Well, Paul asked a question about Sling Orange and ESPN. Sling Orange, it's great because you get ESPN, but you only get one stream, and I'm confident that's to keep costs down. Can you use the ESPN app to add on an extra stream? So watch ESPN at home. That's the last comment.
Oops, sorry about that.
And my brother can watch ESPN at his job at the same time. That's a great question. We've not personally tried that. So I'm not sure, unfortunately, if that's possible. That'd be great if it is. It is a little nutty, Jack. It's because that's where the money is. Live sports is what's keeping cable afloat. So I think streaming services are seeing that as a moneymaker. And so, yeah. Anyway, next thing is Netflix password sharing. Looks like rumors have come out that Netflix has sort of dropped a hint in terms of when that's going to happen. And that it is going to be, I don't have it on here, but wasn't it sometime next month? I want to say it was.
I thought that they had kind of isolated it to second quarter.
Yeah.
Initially, they had said they were going to enforce this in first quarter, and it hasn't happened. Now we're getting into the second quarter of the year. So, yeah, I mean, it's already May, June. I think maybe we'll see it within the next 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know if you shared this, John, but Netflix actually stands to make about $3.5 billion by implementing these changes. So that's really all you need to know, I guess, to know why they're doing it. Their ad-supported tier, which they rolled out. Gosh, when did they roll that out? A year ago?
No.
Not that
I
long
can't
ago.
remember.
Anyway, their ad-supported tier has actually the smallest percentage of any ad-supported plan in the industry. Personally, that doesn't surprise me. We've had Netflix for a long time, and it's never had ads. So we tried the ad-supported tier for a while, and
Didn't like it.
Yeah, we didn't like it. We just did. So many of those shows weren't made to have commercial breaks in them, so the cutaways were awkward, and you felt like it just really pulled you out of the show. And so we opted to pay more for the plan without ads in it, and I think a lot of people did that. So Netflix has to make money. We've said this a lot: content's expensive to create, and it's not just true of Netflix. It's really true of everyone in the industry. Never forget that these streaming services are, investments, and they took a lot of money from venture capital and other investors to get up and going, and those investors want a return, and so they're pushing for profits. If Netflix can deliver $3.5 billion by cracking down on password sharing, it makes sense why they're going to do it.
Yeah, and Paul asked if the Big 12 will seek a TV deal similar to SEC and Big 10, or as I call them, the Little 10, living here in Nebraska. I don't know. I'd love to see that, but I think it depends on expansion and who we would potentially get, and where if the Big 10 is going to expand anymore. ESPN are ESPN homers, in my opinion. So, yeah. Who's to say?
I have to say, since Paul, thank you for bringing this up. I'm kind of hoping secretly, being a San Diego native, that there's been rumors that the Big 12 might take San Diego State, and I'm hoping for that because we go back to visit my family there a couple times a year, and I think it would be a lot of fun to see K-State play San Diego State in the Snapdragon Arena. That would be fun. So, a little bit of an aside.
So, Nicole, you want to move on to Verizon and Disney?
Sure. Yeah, this is another piece of news. It's kind of interesting. Curious if any of you are Verizon customers. If you noticed this, let me get it up on the screen here. So, Verizon is dropping the Disney bundle. They had been offering it for free with their 5G plans, but they're changing that a little bit. They're going to continue to allow subscribers to get a discounted Disney streaming bundle add-on, but not just that Disney bundle for free. And if we look at Verizon's site, we can see kind of what this looks like. So they're calling it Pick Your Perk, and you can see some of those options here. There's the Disney bundle. You can pick any one of these perks for $10 a month. So, you're still getting that Disney bundle at a discount, but you're not getting it free anymore. And I think this is going to be interesting to see what happens with subscriptions for Disney Plus. I'm not sure off the top of my head how percentage-wise, how many of their subscriptions were coming for free from Verizon. So it'll be curious to see what happens there.
And there's been no reporting yet in terms of if people will be grandfathered in or not. I would assume that they would be grandfathered in until whenever their current time is over, and then they would probably be dumped into this. And I agree with you, Space Ghost. I get why they're cracking down on it. Because piracy is an issue, and it does cost money, and you can like it or not like it, but it is an issue, and content really is a key player in that, in my opinion. And it'll be interesting to see as more production studios start licensing out their content, if they're able to improve that. I go to Netflix to watch Seinfeld. I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. That's what I watch 90% of the time.
John, you got to answer Steve here. I think this is a question on everyone's mind, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many K-State shirts I own. I honestly don't. I can't remember the day that I was not in a K-State shirt, or in K-State something, whether it be basketball shorts or a t-shirt. I'm living in Omaha. We're surrounded by red, and it's a religion here, and so I have to. It's been a few years, but we've had businesses refuse our business because I was in a K-State shirt. And I bleed purple, but there's a point in which you got to go, okay, no, that's just stupid.
Yeah, John wears it proudly, and he actually, today we're celebrating our 22 years of being married. Is our anniversary today, and I still remember when we were dating, and he bought me my first K-State shirt, and I still have that shirt, and it must have been made well because it's still in one piece and it doesn't have any holes in it. So, but yeah, if you look in his closet, it's all varying shades of purple.
Yep.
Organized from dark to light and by sleeve length.
Yeah, there's a couple Cowboy shirts in there, but yeah, it's overwhelmingly
and like
K-State.
1 or 2 Chargers items.
Yeah. Yep. And then lastly, last thing is we're wanting to have more aggregation. We had a video on this recently about how, streaming is great because you have freedom, but when you have 8 different services, it's difficult or frustrating to deal with all of them. And so as streamers, we're wanting more aggregation. And I was reading an article on Yahoo Finance Tuesday or Wednesday that they were speculating that we're going to start to see We're going to start to see merger and acquisition activity possibly next year and into early 25 as people are looking for ways to save money. If we continue to see services that have declining numbers, it wouldn't surprise me to see that sooner. But I think that will hinge somewhat on, that's right, Christy, you can never have enough K-State shirts. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays with ESPN and their potential DTC service. And Warner Brothers Discovery even came out this week and said that they're wanting to aggregate more of their content just with that whole sole purpose of being easier to stream.
Yeah, and John, their CEO mentioned, just kind of floated the idea of, how cool would it be to have like a Warner Brothers Discovery, so Max plus Disney Plus bundle, or maybe, I think that was the one that was mentioned in the article, but you take a few of the most popular, like what if you could get Max and the Disney bundle all for one price and have one way to get into all of them? That would give you 4 or 5 services and access to all that content. What would it cost? Would that be good for competition? Would it be bad? Does it take us is it just like the new form of cable? I think these are all questions that are worth discussing, and I hope it doesn't go. I personally, I think we want the aggregation because we want the convenience, but we don't want to end up with where it's 2 or 3 people owning everything again, and then we're held hostage to their price hikes, and say they start implementing contracts as a way to save money. Well, then we're right back where we started again. Yeah.
And that said, we recently, what was that article from? It was an article about a week ago on that streaming is dead. And
I was asking, are the streaming wars over?
Yeah. And so we have a video coming out on that here very soon. Did we shoot that this week?
We did. Yeah. Okay,
so it'll be out in the next week or so. We don't think it's dead, but it's definitely changing. So yeah, just to give you a sneak peek on that. And that's all we have. Thank you everyone for the well wishes. With the bundling and aggregation, what's something that's frustrating y'all currently with managing your streaming services? Drop a comment below on that.
And ask us anything else. I know we're coming out the gate at half an hour on these because we don't know how long you guys want to see us, but we are here, and
you're a talker, so
I am, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. If there's something that you want an answer to right now, you can throw it up in the chat. If it comes to your mind later, John is awesome about checking comments all day long, so you know him, he'll respond. But thank you guys so much for the congratulations on our anniversary. It's crazy how fast 22 years flies.
What are you saying?
Nothing bad. Just that you look back at pictures and you think, wow, it's been, I didn't used to have as much gray hair 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
So Jack asked, how long does it take on average to edit our videos? We actually have a video editor, someone that Nicole used to work with. I want to say it takes her within an hour to edit it. It's Nicole in a pinch can edit, and there's been a couple videos that we've had to do that with. And we're actually, so our daughter is 15 and she does some work for us on the site, some very light administrative type work. This summer we're having her learn how to edit video herself, so we can involve her in that. So it usually takes about an hour. It's the actual content creation and the ideation that what takes.
Right.
I
But
think,
if
the
I
time.
had to edit a video, it would take me 3 or 4 times at least as long
Yeah.
as our video editor, because I don't know the software. And I think, you guys can probably relate. Anytime you have to learn a new platform or a new tool, there's just a learning curve. And I think if I was doing that, regularly, then that would speed up. I actually enjoy it. But yeah, I'm very thankful for our video editor and that she can get things done quickly, and hopefully our daughter will enjoy it. I will say, just since you mentioned her age, she has her learner's permit. So mom is doing the student driving, and any advice you have on how to do that without screaming at your child? No. I'm not screaming, but trying to learn not to overreact to curb checks and rapidly approaching bumpers in the windshield. But
Well, you're the patient one, so you're the one to be doing it. And yes, Paul, we are going to keep doing our Friday live streams. We enjoy it, and gets things a little more as they happen, and we can be a little bit more personable than just filming our video. Yes, yikes. I got to sit in the office yesterday and watch. It was like moving of a ship. So yeah, I was thankful I was not in the car.
it can be hard to back out of a driveway into a busy kind of intersection and have to turn your car around. So
Yeah.
we're all things that will be like second nature to her in time.
Yeah.
But
Well, with that, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope we hope everyone has a great weekend. And the video will be up here momentarily. And
thanks for tuning in,
Yes,
everyone.
thanks, guys.
Have a great weekend.
Yes. Bye, guys.